Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode here at Tribal Trades, the daily show. And today we're going to ask the question, is the rally over already, or is it just beginning? Okay, and before we do that, smash the like button. This does help get this channel out to more people, and of course does help support the channel. And if you're new to the show, smash that subscribe button and you'll get the daily updates. So we had, as we jump to the Bitcoin chart, we're just going to get straight into it. As we jump to the Bitcoin chart, of course, the rally that we're talking about is the one that was fueled off the announcement that 401ks, crypto, were going to be compatible with each other. However, I do think there is some time for this to take to roll out. However, let's just talk about the rally and let's just talk about where we are at now in the chart. So first of all, the announcement came in and off Bitcoin went, a little bit of a pullback, and then we pushed higher over the weekend. On Sunday, it started to push higher and then into today. However, we are finding some resistance. How often do I tell you that these wicks, see this long wick here that goes all the way up to 123,000 and all the way down to 119? How often do we see these partially or completely full? It's like a magnet that comes into it, just like the fair value gaps are a magnet. We saw Bitcoin come into and fill the fair value gap complete now. So remember this fair value gap that I was telling you about between 115,000 and 112,000, and I'd said that the 50-day moving average was also there, and that was a likely place for Bitcoin to come and find some support, and that's exactly what happened, exactly as I predicted it to happen there. And you can see the fair value gap there from the bottom of this wick, and from the top of this wick there is a huge fair value gap, and that got filled perfectly there. Okay, that's number one. Now, as far as we do have a new gap, it's called a CME gap, which is different than a fair value gap. However, we are seeing a little bit of a pullback. We are way extended from the 9 EMA on the daily. Usually when we see that happen, it comes back like a rubber band to it to retest it. So I do expect to have a retest of the 9 EMA. It's just where the 9 EMA happens to be when the retest will happen. And let me just give you some clues, because we have, of course, the CME gap that has been created. Now you see the CME gap here. This is the price that the CME futures closes on Friday and then Friday night and then reopens on Sunday. And this gap currently is 116,000 and the and 119. So 116 and 119,000. Now I did tell you about the CME gap that was over here. And of course, for this last correction that we had from 123 down to 112, we closed both the CME gap and the fair value gap. Okay. And so generally speaking, these CME gaps will close, and they usually close sooner rather than later. Of course, then they don't close 100% of the time. Occasionally, one gets left behind, but I believe the stats are up in the 90% range. This one did take some time to close from when it opened there. The gap opened up here through to when it actually finally closed. It was about 3 weeks there, about 3 weeks. So whereas other ones have closed a little bit quicker, sometimes around 3 or 4 days. So it just depends how long we see. But I would expect that CME gap to close. I would expect us to come down and on the CME gap and close that gap down to 116, 117,000. That would seem a logical place for a little bit of a correction here, and not too far away from where we are on price. And it's also where the 9 EMA currently is on the daily time frame on the CME chart. And if you want the CME chart, just go to BTC1 ! There is also a CME gap for Ethereum here. It's located between about 4,100 and about 4,250. So there's a gap there that is not very far away from price. We're going to talk about Ethereum in a moment. Before we do that, I want to jump to the total 2 chart here, which is the entire altcoin market. And of course, the good news is that we've made a higher high here, which is great. And then, of course, possibly with the CME gaps being potentially close. Maybe we come back and test from 1.55, a healthy retest to 1.5. Remember, anytime we get too far away from the 9 EMA, we come back and test it, and then of course if we break below it, we do end up flipping bearish there. Okay, let's have a look at Bitcoin dominance, because this is also important as far as the altcoin chart goes. So as you can see, this is the 50-week moving average, this white line that is moving up here. And we came back and we retested it here in July, and then we moved away from it. We created a lower high, and then we came down and created a lower low, and we actually broke below it. And I said this was the key for alts continuing to run, and it did. Alts ran for another 2 days, and then on Sunday and Monday it started to reverse. So this is fairly normal to come up in here and have a retest. It would totally even be fine for us to come above and hit the 9 or even the 20. It's what happens when we close. Are we going to close above the 50-week moving average or close below it? And more importantly, are we going to have a week below a weekly close and open below the 50-week moving average now? Now you see we already got a close below it. So that's a good sign that we got a close below it. However, we've got to see by Sunday, are we going to be back above it, or are we going to stay below it, which means we have an open and a close below it, which I think will lead to a much bigger alt season. Now, in context, if we want to go back and find the last time that Bitcoin dominance went below the 50-week moving average, and the only time that Bitcoin dominance has dropped below the 50-week moving average since the bull run started in January of 2023, we have to go all the way back to when most altcoins topped. Most altcoins set their all-time high, and many are still well below those all-time highs that they set. And we did get a weekly close below, very similar over here. Look at this over here. Look at this over there. The candles are almost identical in size and length, and how there's wicking part here to the bottom. And it did close below, but then the next candle, even though it opened below, pushed up and closed, and then we saw this parabolic move to the upside, and that was the end for the altcoins there for quite some time. And so there is warning there. We do need to be careful. We do need to keep an eye on what happens there with that. And just so you know, even though the weekly candle closed below there, because on Sunday it happened to be below, and then when it opened and closed, I will say to you that it only spent an entire time of 5 days, 5 daily closes below the 50-week moving average. So this entire bull run, the 50-week moving average, Bitcoin dominance has only been below 5 days here, and then over just more recently, we've had a few more days. We had 1, 2, 3 daily closes. So we've had a total of 8 days only, and the most at any one stretch of time, 5 days within that 7 days, there was 5 daily closes below, and then it got up and took off. So this is the line in the sand for alts right there, is the 50-week moving average. Add that to your chart, BTCD, and you can keep an eye on that chart. And if we break above here, not super concerned as long as we don't get consecutive daily closes. And then you can go to the 3-day chart. Do we get a 3-day close over there? And then, of course, if on Sunday we close, but historically, if we look at the patterns from the past, generally that's been a sign for a reversal to the upside. And that could be the end of our little pump that we had for alts. That could just be said was fueled by the 401k pump, had a little short pump for altcoins before continuing to the downside. And that's the danger downside. So the question is, as we started the show, is the rally, is it just the beginning? Is the end? Is this rally ending, or is it just the beginning? I want to hear your thoughts. And is it just the beginning, or are we going to now see some pullback for altcoins? And was it just really a pump based off that news, the 401k news, where crypto can be added to 401k? Not right now, of course. It's going to take time for all of that to be rolled out and implemented. So I want to know your thoughts. Is this altcoin rally going to be sustained? Or is Bitcoin dominance going to break back above the 50-week moving average, close above there this Sunday, and then that little alt rally is over just really before it got started? I'd love to know your thoughts there. And talking of altcoins, Ethereum was a trade that we took in the Tribal Trades Discord there. I gave the entry, I gave the target. There's the entry there. I gave it on the 7th of August at 6:33 in the morning. We're going to look at the charts. And then what we have there is we have the target at 4,200 with a stop loss at 37.35, which didn't even end up happening. It just went up from there. And then I want to have a look at where possibly Ethereum can go from here. So we'll have a quick look at this trade in the Tribal Trades Discord there. Okay, we'll go to the daily chart here for Ethereum. And I'll show you what I saw. I actually saw it on the hourly chart. This is where I gave the trade, and the trade was from a bull flag on the hourly chart. And there is the flag, the bull flag. There is the pole, and there is the flag portion here. And here was the technical target to the upside, which is 4,200. That's the trade I gave. Look at the date. I've got the receipts, 7th of August. Boom. There's where I gave the trade right there. And look what happened. No, there was no stop out at all. The trade did not get stopped out. It continued up and continued up. And this was an absolutely smashing trade because we hit our target of 4,200. We exceeded the target actually up to 4,300. And now we go back to the charts. There is a new potential bull flag forming. So we have this new pole here. So this was the previous bull flag. So I'll take this one away. That's played out. That's done. And we have a new possible bull flag forming. And if it was to break out, the technical target to the upside would be, lo and behold, its all-time high, which is up at 4,800. Now, of course, we could come down and retest for 4,000, and this bull flag would still be in play, by the way, as long as we maintain that pole and that flag, the pennant or a flag there. And this is kind of early days because it's just forming there. Maybe on the 12-hour, you can see a little bit better here forming. And if we go to the 4-hour, you can see, of course, even more so. There's the big, there's the pole, and there is the flag there. So we're maintaining that at the moment for Ethereum. But this all really does depend on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin comes down and fills the CME gap, then it's quite possible that this bull flag could be invalidated. It's just forming on the daily, but it is formed on the 12-hour and the 4-hour there. So it is valid as far as a formation. We just haven't had any breakout there. And I would say a breakout level there of about 4,200 and about $70 there. And of course, that could be a nice move to the upside back to Ethereum's all-time high. Now, of course, if Bitcoin dominance does break above the 50-week moving average, then possibly this bull flag won't play out. Of course, if we come back down to the 9 EMA on the daily there, then that bull flag is going to be invalidated. Remember, bull flags, they have about a 65% chance that they do play out to the upside, and about a 35% chance that they don't. So about a 2/3 chance of actually playing out there. So that was a fantastic trade given in the Tribal Trades Discord, a bunch of other trades given there, and a bunch of wins in the channel there. And of course, if you do wish to join the Tribal Trades Discord, there is a link below in the description of this video. You might need to click the more button. That will pop out, and there is a link there to join the Discord. Now, you can't join the Discord right away because it's currently closed. However, you can get on the wait list to join the Discord, and I will be opening the Discord again this year. It was last open in June. We had it open for a wee while where people were able to sign up and join right away. Currently now there is a wait list. So of course, the sooner you get on the wait list, the sooner you're going to be able to get access. And of course, if we ever have people who aren't able to renew their subscription for whatever reason, I have been moving people early off the wait list there into the main section of the Discord. And of course, the Discord comes with the Tribal Trades indicator, one indicator to rule them all. And that is a paid indicator. However, you get that as part of your Discord membership. You don't pay any extra. You pay for the Discord. You get that. And of course, we have live sessions there as well with me 2 to 3 times a week. We teach leverage trading. We have a leverage lounge so you can learn how to short the market and be prepared that if we do go into a bear market, as we have done historically, between September and the end of the year, historically, that would be when the bull run would end, unless you believe in the super cycle, of course. But at some point, the market is going to have a pullback, and learning how to make money on the way down and short the market with leverage. And of course, we have the life-changing gains trading course there. That's the university. We can learn the A to Z of trading and a whole bunch more channels there. But that's all we have time for today. So, of course, until the next episode or until I see you in the Discord, happy trading.